Kydex, the negatives of Kydex. Well, one of the pros, the fact that you can reheat it and reform it easily and over, is also a con. Heat can cause it to return to its shape or deform. So on a very hot day, if you left it in your car in the sun, you might have problems with it deforming or trying to go back to its original shape. Another thing to keep in mind is it's loud. It's plastic, so it's going to click and clack going through the woods if you hit it against stuff like twigs and rocks and what have you. Say you're crawling through the bush, stalking your prey if you're a hunter or what have you. It's something to keep in mind. It's not as quiet as a leather or nylon. It's also, this is kind of a strange one it's just something I've run into though. It's less accepted than leather or nylon. What I mean by that is that it looks scary to some people. It looks tactical. It looks scary. I don't know how else to say it. If I carry, for example, my Boker Arbolito Venador in this nice leather sheath, if I carry that, I'm not going to get any looks really. It's something people are used to seeing, and it just looks discreet, and it's there, it's on your side. But for some reason, the Kydex gets people's attention. Probably because it's newer. It's not something people have seen as much. And people are afraid of what they don't know. It draws their attention, and then they see the big knife on your side. But that's not something I worry about too much, because I generally only carry large fixed blades in the wilderness anyways. There are some reports of knives freezing in the sheaths, the Kydex sheaths, in extreme cold weather. Say you have a high humid environment and frost is in there and it freezes to the blade. I've never experienced this. I've heard that in rare circumstances it could happen. My solution to that would just to be put the knife in the sheath close to your body warmth and let that warm it up enough to deploy your knife and dry out the inside of the sheath. Excuse me. Last negative I can think of is that it's plastic, so it's bad for the environment. It's bad to throw away. It's not leather, it's not natural. Although there are a lot of tanning agents and chemicals involved in leather nowadays as well. So that's just something to keep in mind, comparing to other materials and things. But I don't plan on throwing these sheaths away anytime soon. It's something I think will last a long time because it's so durable, and you can even reform it 10 years down the road and adjust it. So something that I really like about Kydex there is that it's so durable. Leather will break down over time comparatively. Show you an example. My Buck 119 sheath. Got this about 17, 18 years ago. And it's, held up pretty well, but it's got some wear and tear, definitely. And the one thing that was really bugging me is that inside it's got a plastic insert, but it just rattles. It was always very loud on my side. And plus I was looking for something that didn't retain water like leather does. So, something there to keep in mind. Since we're talking about sheaths in general, I'll just talk about other materials really quick. So you've basically got three main categories for sheath options. You've got leather, you've got nylon or cordura, and then you've got Kydex. Leather has a lot of good benefits. It's comfortable to wear, it moves well with you through the brush, it's soft and quiet and silent. It can be repaired, you can restitch it. It's natural material. If you get a good one, it holds the knife and has good retention. It's also more widely accepted, makes the knife look less formidable or scary or what have you. It can be a little bit heavy. For example, one really well-built sheath for an SE7, the sheath weighed more than the knife when I did the research. It was a very heavy sheath. I believe it was over 15-ounce sheath, And it was built like a tank, but it's something I keep in mind for a con for leather is that it's a little bit heavy, especially if it's overbuilt. This one, though, is not heavy. It's nice and lightweight, so I guess it just depends on the sheath and the leather and what have you. Another con for leather is it's vulnerable to water and humidity. It's usually really not a problem unless you're in an open downpour or you take a dip in a lake, fall in a stream. There are a lot of situations, though, in the Pacific Northwest where leather is a problem, especially the humidity. I don't store my knife in the sheath because of that, because of the high humidity and the potential for rusting, even with stainless steel. 440C can rust, AUS 8 can rust, and if you have it stored in a humid environment, that chance of rust goes up. So nylon is pretty similar. It's soft. It's not natural, obviously, but it's soft and durable. It can be repaired. It moves well with you. It's more flexible than Kydex or plastics. It's not waterproof, and it doesn't retain the knife, generally, those types of sheaths. A lot of sheath manufacturers, like Buck, for example, made this sheath that is kind of a combination. You've got the Kydex or plastic insert that will be right next to the knife blade and protect it from weather and water and such. And then the rest is made out of the nylon. So that's a nice sheath. I like it. Very large sheath for that size of knife, though. I did a whole review on the Buck Punk that explains all that. So those are the other different kinds of materials, some of the sheaths out there, and their pros and cons. Tools, tactics, and training. Going outside my backyard here. Just want to go over a little bit how the different sheaths that I have sit on my side. It's one of the most important things, is how comfortable it is and whether or not you want to carry it. So, and if there's any question as to why I hide my identity, I don't feel it's necessary for you to see my face. The information is the same. You can take what makes sense to you and leave the rest. This is not something I'm paid to do, and I don't want the publicity, honestly. There's a lot of other reasons. So anyways, here's my SOG Northwest Ranger and how it sits on my side. And apologies if the microphone isn't picking up everything perfectly. I'm doing a test on this new microphone, this lapel mic. So anyways, this has a drop attachment. You can see how it sits low and it doesn't dig into my side. That's something that really is a pet peeve for me, is how that fits on my side and how high it rides. So there's the first one. I'll give you another example. Boker Arbolito Venador, the leather sheath the manufacturer made. And I really like this sheath. It rides nice and low. But you see, it's not the same quite. It's going to dig in my side a little bit. Not nearly as bad as some other knives, though. So that's an example of a leather sheath. Deployment's not super easy. It definitely works, though. Move on to the next one. This is my Boker Plus Koi Ridgeback. And you don't need to take off your belt to put on a tech lock adapter. That's one of the nice things about it, but I already have my belt off, so this just shows you how this rides. Tighten my belt a little bit more. I really like the angle. I can wear it on my right or my left, easy access. It does sit a little bit off your side, but that's explained earlier in the video as far as why that design is that way. And I prefer that than having the handle dig into my side all day. So, easy deployment there. And to take it off, like I said, you don't even need to remove your belt. Just take it off like that. Continuing with sheaths and how they fit, how they ride on my belt on my side. This
Spoker plus Ridgeback. This is an example of how it comes from the manufacturer. I added the tech lock adapter, which is similar to the belt clip it comes with. And without that drop attachment, this is one of the few places you can actually install the tech lock adapter or the belt clip. So just to show you how it would ride without the drop attachment that I added, you can see it rides pretty high on your side. It digs into my side. It's just not comfortable to wear all day like that. It's not easy to deploy, in my opinion, that way, or resheath. Might have to do with my height. I'm 6 foot. I don't know if that changes for different people, but for me, I do not like a knife handle digging into my side. So just to show you why I added that drop attachment, what the thought process was there. We're talking about manufacturer supplied sheaths still. This is the SOG Tomahawk with the nylon sheath that it comes with. And I'm just putting it on my belt. The belt very barely fits through the belt loop. It's extremely tight fit. Once you get it on there, that's kind of nice because it doesn't move around a lot. So it sits all right on your side, but it's not the most comfortable thing. At least it doesn't ride high. That's nice. But it's not easy to deploy, and it's just not the best. I mean, obviously, they're not going to provide a top-of-the-line sheath with a $30 Tomahawk, so that's just to show you how that rides by default. So continuing with the SOG Tomahawk, this is the manufacturer-made upgraded sheath, Kydex tech lock adapter. So just to show you, wear this on my left side, and you just slide it up in, and there you go. And again, you've got this nice button you can push to change the angle of the handle if you're sitting down, which is really a nice feature in my opinion. And then to deploy it, you just push this down, pull it out. So I really like this upgraded sheath. As I discussed before though, the sheath costs more than the Tomahawk. So if you're not going to be carrying the Tomahawk on your side a lot, if you're going to be having it in a backpack or what have you, you want to consider that, because it may not be a purchase that you need to make. For me, I really like having this option to carry it differently and to deploy it easily. It wasn't something I necessarily needed, but I wanted it, so I got it. So there you go. Upgraded sheath for the SOG Tomahawk. This just kind of gives you a general idea of some manufacturer supplied sheaths that I feel work well. So you got the cold steel GI Tonto, and then the upgraded sheath for the SOG Tomahawk. So just a little overview on sheaths and what I feel works best for me, and maybe that'll work for you, maybe it won't. Figured I'd share the information.
So that sums up the video on sheaths, with emphasis on Kydex sheaths, custom sheaths that I've made, on tools, tactics, and training. And I just want to reiterate, as always, that I do this not to please everybody. I do this to spread knowledge and help people, but I don't care if you have a problem with my review. Constructive criticism is always welcome, though. And again, thanks for joining me on Tools, Tactics, and Training.